Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 16 of the Launch Sequence podcast. That's right, 16 weeks now. Actually, I think it's 17 weeks. We missed a couple, but thank you for coming. We're going to have a good discussion this week. We're going to be talking about a couple of games, some of the game news that's been going on around here, some new Star Wars game coming out, a new game we're thinking about playing in the garden, and, of course, Star Citizen, everything that's going on with Star Citizen right now. That includes upcoming events, the roadmap, the next update, all that jazz. And with me today for this wonderful, wonderful slew of topics is my man Drazen. As always, coming back. The OG, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. I'm just enjoying the onslaught of information we're getting for 315 and all these other games that we're looking forward to playing. So
yeah, it's an exciting fall. It's a lot going on. It's like summer. I'm used to like having an exciting summer in games, and then sort of like September, October being a little bit quiet. Maybe some marketing here and there, but like not too much before the games launch in November. But man,
we didn't get that last year. And we didn't get that last year, really. You know, I feel like we've been in a drought.
Yeah, last year was there was a lot going on last year. In terms of like outside of games, there's a lot going on that caused them to not be able to do the games. One of our favorites, Halo Infinite, was delayed last year because of the COVID pandemic. Like other games had to see some problems and delays. Halo was one of the big ones, and we've got a little bit to talk about it actually today before we get into things. Maybe they should delay it again. Like I kind of lean in that direction because now they're talking about releasing the game without having a couple of features. And I know this is old news, but I take a while to get around. But what's your take on that, Drazen?
No, I agree. I mean, I think every game company out there, every developer should take a long, hard look at what happened with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk, and really realize, I know it's a sore topic for both of us, man, but really take a step back and realize that consumers don't deserve half-baked games, and with a franchise such as Halo and really any other franchise out there, they should take all the time that they need to deliver a full product to the consumers and not deliver a partially done or mostly complete game and then add things later. It's just not fair to anybody involved, and I think we may see that effect in the ratings and the overall reception of the game when it launches. I don't think it's going to be another Cyberpunk situation, but still, we deserve more, you know?
Yeah, and I think that people keep getting on others' cases about calling for these features they should be there at launch. I don't see any reason to be voting against that. I think everybody can agree that we should have all the features at launch. Yes, maybe they're luxuries, maybe they're not used by 70% of people, but they are still part of the feature set. And I think being part of the Star Citizen development process I don't think we could really go against the mantra of delay it until the features are complete, because that's all they do. And we're used to that. And you keep seeing with these games like Cyberpunk, like Halo Infinite, like Anthem, like Mass Effect Andromeda, many games that get pushed out and you're just like, that wasn't ready.
No, I absolutely agree. And I think that people, game companies need to suck it up and just say, hey, we're gonna put this on hold for another couple months until we get all of the core features of our game. With Halo, it's custom games that Halo custom games has spawned so many other game franchises on its own. People don't realize that Call of Duty Zombies came from an idea from Halo custom games. So
much fun.
It's so much fun, and I think that's a specific point that I can think off the top of my head, but I know there's so many other examples with so many other games that again, it's just, we don't deserve a half-baked product.
Yeah, and it's easy enough for us to say it, but there are plenty, like, people will say it about a movie too. You can go in and be like, oh, this movie was trash, they should have done better, and it's like, yeah, but think about how much effort and time and how much it would take to actually fix those problems. I'm like, well, that's kind of worth it. Like, that's what we should be calling for. So I do understand that some people are like, hey, you know what? Like, you're saying, oh yeah, just suck it up, just fix it, just do it, just tell the investors to wait. And I know some people will say, hey, sometimes the company can't just do that. But we should get into a culture, an industry, an expectation that companies can do that. And I hope that changes.
No, I hope so as well.
Yeah. But let's talk about another game that we just started playing right before this, actually, one we've talked about briefly before, Aliens Fireteam. Very fun, little squad-based third-person shooter. You're playing in the Aliens universe, and I quite enjoy it. I've watched those trailers. I think the first trailer I saw was this winter, and I was iffy. The squad-based shooters are cool, but they can get a little bit repetitive, and obviously we haven't played this game that much. But just from playing it, just that one mission we did, which is going to be up on the same YouTube channel that this podcast will be up on, I enjoyed it. I had fun. It was just good fun. What did you think of it?
I thought it was cool. I'm gonna harken back to Back for Blood because I played that very recently. The
Left 4 Dead?
Yeah, Left 4 Dead.
The
Sorry,
new one.
yeah, Back for Blood, Left 4 Dead, just a reskin. I see a lot of similarities between the two. The major differences. Back for Blood to Aliens Fireteam. So with Aliens Fireteam, instead of picking up customizations for your weapon in the game as you do in Back for Blood, or buying them while you're in a round, you buy them when you're back at your base. And a lot of the upgrades that you get, you put them on after the round is done. With Back for Blood, you can pick up some stuff and equip those to your weapons and things. Similar situation with the cards. You have different power-up cards that you can apply if you pick them up from every mission after it's done. Same with both games. You can equip those to get bonuses. So I think, they try and bake in this progression system, and I know a lot of people were criticizing Back for Blood for doing that because it's a little bit much to learn. They just like shooting zombies. Well, I think Aliens is like shooting zombies that don't look like zombies and are a little bit smarter and have a little bit different abilities.
They got some acid blood.
Yeah, really. If you were to replace every alien in that game with a zombie that just had the same features that those aliens had, you'd be like, oh, this is just a different style of zombie game, you know?
Yeah, so that's a good point. It's worth looking for something that sets it apart, and I haven't really seen it yet other than the theme. But, there are other games like this that are coming out. Like you said, there's Left 4 Dead, but there's Back for Blood that's coming out soon. There is what is that? Deep Rock Galactic, I think it's called, or something like that. That's another one. There are several games that you can play like this, so I guess it'll be a test of time to see if this one can really stand out for itself. But that's one that we're considering. And I think the final game we want to talk about before we really get on to Star Citizen this week is the legend, the all-powerful Coder. Knights of the Old Republic has been announced to be getting a full remake, not just a remaster or anything, but like a full-on different studio is just remaking the game, yeah?
Yep.
What was your initial reaction to that, to seeing that trailer pop up on wherever you saw it for the first time?
Man, I saw Eckhart's Ladder post a reaction to it, and I just clicked on his video to watch the original video. And when I saw it, to see, Darth Revan lighting up his lightsaber, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I'm a big fan of the Old Republic. I played a lot of SWTOR, not as much KOTOR. I picked up a lot of the lore from KOTOR, from SWTOR and other associated medias and, books and things like that. I was super excited. I'm really, really happy. I wanted them to go back to the Old Republic. They've been doing this High Republic thing with books, and I was like, okay, we have all of this phenomenal content that was, for a while kind of being thrown back and forth from, not canon to maybe they'll canonize it, and now it's just we're getting all of this forward momentum for the Old Republic, and I think we're really getting our comeuppance on that. Yeah. And I really hope they do a good job, but I'm just happy to have the Old Republic come back into light, and I hope they do more with it.
So do you think then that this could be a sign that Star Wars is open to doing more with the Old Republic and other mediums? Movies, TV shows, maybe?
I hope so. I would love it. I think you could do a whole multi-season TV show on Darth Revan and his story. Not to bastardize his story or anything like that, but he's a prominent, person in the Old Republic, and a lot of the laws and things that he had passed down to the Sith had impacted the Skywalker saga. So I think they could definitely do it. Will they do it? And what extent would they do it? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But seeing this remake happen gives me a favorable opinion that maybe they will delve into it a bit more. I don't know how much though. So
What do you think is, or rather, do you think they should have maybe gone with a new story? Open up the Old Republic a little bit more, giving us a brand new take?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard. If you follow non-canon, because essentially the Old Republic, they did broadly recognize it as canon, but there are so many parts of the Old Republic that are still, we don't know if it's 100% canon or if it's just fan fiction or
Yeah.
fan inspired. There's so much that I think they could go back and say, okay, we're going to take 80% of the Old Republic and keep it, and then we're going to change up 20%, and that 20% could revitalize it and give people who know that 80%, give them interest to go back and watch it and get involved and feel like it's good, but also drawing in the crowds like they did with The Mandalorian, where it's going to have broad appeal across a wide spectrum of audiences.
Yeah.
So I think a little bit of revitalization would help with the Old Republic, but at the core, we have a phenomenal story. We have phenomenal background. It all ties in great with the Skywalker saga. So they're not going to crap on anything that they've already done, but it's just going to serve to enrich in the backstory of who are the Jedi, who are the Sith, specifically why are the Jedi not good? Because the Jedi are not great people, and I think that's a story that I want to see more. I want them to go into that where it's not a good versus evil. It's a kind of bad versus not really so good,
Yeah.
And that's a story I want to see delved out more, and I think the Old Republic can do that if they do it right.
Yeah, they shied away from that for a while, but it definitely starting to come out in some of the other movies and TV shows that we're seeing. But that's enough
Absolutely.
about those other games. Let's talk about the prize pig. Star Citizen has a lot going on. Like you said, we are getting an onslaught of information, and it's that time of year. I haven't really covered Star Citizen intensely up until about this last summer. I started to get more serious about it last summer, but then this one that we just passed, summer of 2021, it's when it really kind of started to get serious for me. So I haven't been at a CitizenCon as a content provider, only as a fan really, and I am so scared of the next 2 months of Star Citizen because we've got 315 is bringing a huge handful of new features that are going to really change the game a lot. CitizenCon obviously is a big deal. They're changing up development styles. They've got things like server meshing to talk about, quantum to talk about. We've got dynamic events going on. There's a lot to go over. So let's start with the new feature flow that they talked about. Richard Tyrer came on to Star Citizen Live with Jared, and they talked about how they're changing up the ways that they're delivering features to us. Do you remember that?
Yep.
So they essentially said that what they're doing now, and we've seen this, they have sort of different teams and different ways of structuring these teams, but they have tech teams which create the tech that is being used to run your features. So let's say the tech team would create they would create the cybernetics, the technology needed for the cybernetics to function, to work on your arm. But the features team would then get together with the content team to bring those features in and actually make them into what they are presented as in the game. The cybernetics are probably not a great example, but I can't really think of another one right now. But I hope that makes sense. The tech team makes what the feature and content team use to actually create the gameplay. So currently what they do is the tech team will make the the tech, and then the feature team for Star Citizen will grab that tech, put it in their feature, and put that feature in the game. This meant that sometimes the tech that was being used for Squadron 42 could also be used for a Star Citizen feature, but they didn't really have a reason for it in Star Citizen. It was just ready, it was there, it was good to go, so they brought it in as well. What they want to do instead now is they want to say, okay, the tech team needs to make a feature so that we can use it in Squadron 42. Once that feature is in Squadron 42 and they've had time to run the scenarios and actually dial down and get that feature working, then we bring it back over to Star Citizen and we put it in with actual content that we already know works with the tech. How do you feel about this change? It was a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think it's great. And I think a change was needed. I think it's going to streamline the process a lot more. And we're going to start getting a lot firmer, not necessarily dates, but it feels like things are progressing in a better way as we are getting. I would assume with the way that they've streamlined it, it's going to make work progress a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently. So that should translate to us seeing things being done in the back end that we're not seeing. It'll get all that pushed through very quickly, but also things that are being worked on will also have a little bit firmer of a confidence that things can get done in the timeline that they set. I think reason why we saw a lot of stuff being pushed out was because they have this really intricate web of how everything has to work, and one little thing could toss it off balance and cascade it. But now with this, it seems a lot less risk averse. So, you can go through the pipeline, get, products and features through and out and published and into the hands of us consumers. So I think it'll be good, and I think we'll end up getting the final product that we see. We may get it a little bit quicker, but it'll be in a lot more polished of a state, I feel personally.
You mean a little bit slower?
Well, I wouldn't say slower necessarily. I would say it's more efficient. I don't think using slow would probably be the correct term. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it sounds like they're going to spend more time with the feature. I mean, it's not going to be noticeable to us because
no,
it will basically just not see the stuff until it's further along in development because other stuff will have taken up the limelight. So, for instance, maybe we would have been seeing hacking gameplay right now because it is at a point where they can bring it into the game, but it's not at a point where they have content for it. So we won't actually see hacking until 2 months from now or 4 months from now. Instead, we'll see something that's closer to having the gameplay and the content in like a, I don't know, whatever's coming at the end of the year, like a cargo refactor, something.
Yeah.
Wholesome,
I guess
stuff
to
like
clarify, yeah, I guess to clarify, whenever it gets announced to us that things are being worked on, I think the way that they're going to handle it from here on out is going to be one of those, hey, we're telling you now. That means we're almost, we've got all that, time and effort put in that, it might have taken longer than it did before. But when we hear it, it'll sound like and it'll look like to us that it's progressing quicker than, maybe it was before, essentially.
That's
it's just communication.
Yeah, I mean, it'll feel, yeah. I guess it depends on how you look at it. But basically, the idea is that we'll be getting the feature maybe a little bit later than we would have normally, but it'll be more developed. It'll be tier 2, whereas right now we would get a tier 0. Let's say, look at the mounted turrets, right, that we got last year. Very clearly a Squadron 42 asset. They got placed outside of bunkers that NPCs don't use them because they don't know how, and players don't need to because there's no NPCs outside, so they're quite literally useless. But they got put in at T0 when the tech was ready, and they weren't really needed. But now we're looking at the possibility of getting the nav mesh at the end of the year. Suddenly NPCs might be on the planet's surface, and now those turrets are useful. But we wouldn't have gotten the turrets yet. Instead, we would have gotten a patch that was focused around creating ground-based gameplay, and those turrets would have been included. This is something I talked about in a video earlier this year, in that I think I actually mentioned it on InfoRunners today, I believe that these patches might start to see themes applied to them that draw in different parts of an overall gameplay focus that allows them to be more fully featured, or at least seem more fully featured in their updates, and also focus on the gameplay and the content as opposed to just the features. So 314 more combat focused, 315 being kind of more, I say survival focused just because it's medical, it's inventory, it's persistent, that kind of stuff. 316, who knows? But we'll see if that trend continues. I think though that overall this seems to be a small part of a larger shift that they've been doing to focus more on curating an experience and building that that feeling of playing the game as opposed to just pumping out features anymore. And they talked about this kind of stuff earlier this year as well. Like they said with the ships, they're not going to bring in any more ships without the underlying gameplay that belongs to that ship. Just another part of that same vow.
And I guess that's kind of what I mean by it feels like things are coming along at a quicker clip, essentially. Is because when we see stuff and we get it in the game, it'll be at such a better level instead of us just getting an onslaught of little tidbits that are building up to something more important. It'll be hey, we're putting this out there, it's in a great state and it's where we feel comfortable it being. Then we'll start getting more no longer bite-sized but full meals put out in front of us now.
Yeah.
Instead of little snacks all the time. So that's what I mean by it'll feel like things are coming along quicker, because we're going from little bite-sized bits of content every patch to now we're getting these, hey, we have a 315 or a 316 where it's a or a 314 even, where it's combat focused, like you said, very meat and potatoes kind of patch where we're getting, they really deep dive into it to rework things. I feel like when we start getting those, the work might take a little bit longer, but it won't feel like that to us. It'll feel more meaningful, and it'll feel like we're actually progressing to a full game versus what we've had before.
Yeah. That this all being said, this might not work. This could end up just kind of not making much of a difference, but we'll see. I think this will do something good for development. The thing, honestly, that bugs me the most is like, why is this just now being considered? We've been sitting here talking about these different features that come into the game, and we're like, okay, there's not really much there to go along with it, but this is open development. This is how it is. This is how game studios must run, right? They just make the tech that they need for that moment, and then they can tie it in whenever the other supporting features come in. But now suddenly they're like, wait, we can just hold back these pieces until, we deliver them with this other stuff. And it's not a big deal. It's not necessarily bad, but I wonder what it is that's changing that they feel they need to do that. And I'm curious. I'm hypothesizing that it's the idea that they're trying to make the game more playable for the casual person. They're just trying to make it look better up front now.
Yes, but then I raise you the medical gameplay that we're seeing. Would you necessarily say that this medical that we're getting with the different syringes and the different healing types, do you really think that that's going to attract more casual players?
Well, that's a different conversation. I think the way that they're delivering medical will definitely be better for new players as opposed to what it would have been like if they had just put in some tier 0 medical and it was just, I guess we had tier 0 medical with the med pens, but like if this new version of the medical system with the hospitals and stuff, let's say they put in medical, but we didn't get the medical tool, we only got the attachment. We didn't get the hospitals, we only got a couple of clinics. And we didn't have injuries, or we didn't have the animations for injuries. It just made the injury, but didn't really show you that much about it. That would be kind of like, obviously, putting something out like that is going to leave new players feeling like it's a little bit unfinished, it's a little unpolished, it's not that deep. But now they're starting to build these features up so that new players, when they come into the game, they see it and they're like, hey, this actually runs, this actually works. I can do things. It'll be better for them than it would have, say, a year ago or something like that. So, that you bringing that up about does it make it better for new players? The medical gameplay itself, I think that's something that we can talk about now, actually, because we were going to start to talk about kind of the stuff that's coming in 315. So the big one's medical gameplay. And why don't you touch on more on that direction you were going with that?
Yeah, did you like that? Did you like that smooth transition?
Very smooth, a nice crossfade.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think I bring up good points, not to stroke my own ego here, but medical gameplay.
Stroked.
It's huge. Yeah,
Stroked it.
stroked, right? And again, there's so many games out there who've taken different, aspects of medical to make their game more in depth, and CIG is going to do it with Star Citizen. So, I don't necessarily think it'll make the game easier or harder. I think it'll give it more depth, which I believe is what CIG's intent is, to make the game feel a little more in depth, a little more engaging. It's no longer press C, hit yourself with a pin, you're full on health again. It takes a little more thought, takes a little more preparing. Makes you rely on other teammates that you might be playing around in the verse, or other people, strangers you don't know. Gives them a reason to be there, to make money even potentially, which I think is good, and I think it's going to enrich in the game experience. But I also know that doesn't come with some concerns from the community as a whole.
Yeah. Well, definitely play with friends. Play with friends. I do think it makes things easier in that you're not going to be dying near as much as you used to. You're gonna get hit by you're gonna get crushed by your ship's landing ramp, like the little ramp that comes down from the hangar bay, and your ship is gonna crush you. And at a time when you would have normally died and had to go all the way back to the space station to respawn, now your friend can just get you back up. That's really nice. And I think people are kind of forgetting that that's a big part of this. Yes. All right, let's put one thing out there. And we talked about this a little bit earlier today over on the Info Runners. This is going to be a game best experienced in a group. And people are there's going to be a lot of pushback for that. But that's just how it is. This game is focused on being very systemic and sort of not being like real life, but mirroring a lot of the systems that work in real life. And the systems that work in real life only work in real life because we have strength in numbers, because we're good at doing things as groups. So I think this game is going to just naturally be easier and be more fun when you're playing in a group. So playing in a group at this point is going to be much easier because you can always get each other up, and you won't really be having that catastrophic death that you normally would have, because 99% of the time, as Rich Tyrer said, you won't actually be getting knocked out to respawn. That being said, I completely understand why people are nervous about the respawning. I am too. They haven't really talked about what happens when you log out. Does it count it as a death? Does it put you back where you were supposed to respawn? Would it load you to the nearest place? Like what happens there? So there are still some questions left unanswered with the medical system, but it is such an important addition, and I'm really excited for the way that it's going to emphasize group play. It's going to emphasize planning ahead. It is just all around. I'm excited for it. I think it's cool, and it really isn't that much different from other games. I have a video coming out this week where I'll talk about this. This medical system isn't that crazy compared to other games. I mean, how many games are there out there where when you get shot by something, you hit a button, you stab yourself with a syringe, you get some of your health back, right? How many games are there out there where you die, and this is a different feature, this is the next feature we'll get into, but you die, you drop your inventory stuff, you respawn, and you don't have that inventory stuff. There are plenty of games like that. Freaking Fortnite works like that. So I think people should wait and try this and feel it out before we start getting the pitchforks.
No, I 100% agree. And I think, the first issue that I think people will bring up is that servers aren't stable, right?
Yeah.
You might be out there mining with your rock, and you have to step out of your vehicle real quick to go do some hand mining, picking up whatever, and all of a sudden your vehicle decides to glitch into you and takes out both of your legs, and now it's just, oh, this isn't fun, or little weird things like that could potentially happen due to not really player fault, but just server instability.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe a feature like this, people could consider it being just amplifying an issue that exists from the core of the game. But what do you think about that? Because I know you and I have talked about it a bit, and I know a lot of people in the community are kind of worried about that. What do you think? Do you think the medical system being introduced to us will just further bring out and enhance how bad the servers are and how unstable things can be at times?
Yeah. Definitely. Every feature does, right? Literally everything that we get, the combat system when that came in, reminded us how bad the desync was.
Yep, true. Yep.
This is going to be a painful process. I don't doubt that. Like I said, I do think it'll be better for people who play in groups, but yeah, I think we're going to get screwed by these glitches. I'm probably going to rage on my own stream about it a couple times. That's just how it is. That's that's the frustration of playing this game, but that's part of playing a game in development is that and I know that's super cliche, but like literally. It's that's just part of playing something that's being worked on at that moment, that's being constantly broken and rebroken. It's going to be a bummer until the servers are working better. But we also don't know really what they're doing with the servers. Um, I will say go. I think we talked about this on Inforunners. I keep plugging it, but again, go watch it. I won't say it here because that was Paul was talking about the things that he's noticed while playing on the servers, while seeing certain things happen, and he has a big theory that they are preparing for something big when it comes to the servers, and that this is all part of them trying to test for that. So we'll see. Maybe they have something up their sleeve. Maybe they feel like they have it set up to the point where if you do crash out because of a glitch, you'll immediately spawn back into that spot. I don't know, but yeah, I have no doubt that it's going to be a turbulent, no pun intended, patch. But let's talk
Oh
about
yeah.
the inventory system. This kind of goes hand in hand with the medical system. Why don't you go ahead and take this one? What have you taken from what they've said about this system so far?
So probably my favorite, and I believe one of the most key things, is the persistent inventory, which really very heavily ties into what we were just talking about with medical, is that the inventory on your person will persist until you die. That doesn't carry over to you after death. So
Mm-hmm.
we've seen it a little bit already, right? If you die and you have a weapon equipped to you, or even if you have one that's like slung over on your back or on your hip, any equipment really that you have on your person when you die,
Yeah.
there's 9 out of 10 chance that whenever you respawn back at whatever space station or ship, you're not going to have that weapon there anymore. You
Yeah.
might be able to go back to your body and pick it up right now. There's not really a guarantee that it will actually be there. It will definitely not be there if you picked that firearm or whatever it was off the ground and equipped it from a dead AI. When you do die, has disappeared all the times that I've tried it. So the persistent inventory will be very interesting because now we have the permanence of you pick up something, you put it in your bag, it's still going to stay in that bag. Even if you do die, you can go back and get that. How long it'll be there, we don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be great because, now we'll have a little more permanence involved when it comes to player inventory, and it'll really start to delve out that side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's probably my favorite part, and then the second would be the inner thought inventory system, which I think is
Oh
also
man.
cool.
Yeah.
But I'll let you do a little talking on it too. So
Well, the inner thought, I'd like to start with the inner thought system because I think that's probably the most exciting part about the whole change. I honestly think that is the best part about the whole change, and it's the part that we haven't seen yet. I do think we're going to see it for the first time this Thursday. ISC is going to be talking about the inventory system. At this point, they can't not show us the asset manager and the new PMA. So what's happening is they're taking the PMA, the glitchy, washed out, buggy one that we use with the mobiGlas right now that sometimes doesn't open immediately. Sometimes when you confirm the stuff, it doesn't equip it. Sometimes it's weird. They're removing it. They're replacing it with an inner thought inventory system, one that you can already use on the Rock and in the Starlifter. They have those inventory systems that are already there. And these systems are going to allow you to move things in and out of other inventories, whether that be your ships, your landing zone, your backpack, on your person. And they're also going to have a real-time character of you where you can drag the items onto you like a normal AAA game. It's going to be... Oh, I'm so excited for that. I really do hope it's good. It sounds like they've been working on it for a while. So it's going to be exciting because this is going to be a really good representation of what they're doing with their menus in Star Citizen. The only real, what's it called? Building blocks rework we've seen in the mobiGlas so far has been, honestly, the reputation tracker. That's it. And that's a very basic UI. So this is going to be a really cool look at what they're doing with UI. On top of that, the persistent inventory, like you said, that's going to be a big change. I think that's probably going to be the hardest change when it comes to the glitches. You're going to be losing your stuff a lot. Luckily, it's not that hard to make money, but that will be tough. And I'll be interested to see how that develops because that feature is going to get so much feedback. But finally, with it, you are also getting the asset manager, which is going to be the way that you track not the stuff around you, the stuff that's on you, but where everything that you own is. So you're going to get a nice breakdown of, hey, this planet, this outpost, this stuff. This planet, this moon, this outpost, this stuff, which is going to be super useful because this game is going to be heavy on the logistics and trying to figure out where's your stuff, how are you going to get it to where you need to go, and how much is it going to cost. So they'll probably start to branch off from that app with some of the commodity trackers, maybe the price tracking and stuff, and telling you, giving you estimates of travel time. You know, hey, I have this ship on Hurston, but I want to get it on Crusader. You don't necessarily have to go get the ship, but it's going to take them 15 minutes to get that over there. So eventually they'll build those timers in, but it's interesting. It's fun stuff. The persistent inventory, the whole physical inventory umbrella is just super exciting. I love it.
No, I do too, man. I'm not as passionate about you as maybe I should be.
You're not as passionate about me?
I'm not as passionate about it as you are. No, I think it'll be really cool, and I'm excited to see where they take it. But I really think I need to see the proof in the pudding, so to speak.
Yeah.
This Thursday. So
God, I'm hungry.
Pudding. Yeah.
I'm hungry, man. Don't talk about food.
Dang it, where's the wife at? You know.
Oh,
you
well,
could,
you can't see that.
Cook
Jesus.
up something with her, you know. No, I mean you can go cook something with her. Have a nice dinner after this. You deserve it.
We've got dinner prepared outside. I'm gonna eat it afterward.
Man, it's gonna get cold.
Oh, dude, I eat my food so freaking hot. I almost like if
burn your mouth.
I will get food delivered and reheat it. It's not even warm yet. Yeah, I got a problem with that.
That's what my dad does. That we'll get pizza and we'll bring it home and immediately he'll throw it in the microwave.
Dude, hot food is best food. Hot food.
I don't know. That's so weird.
I love some good hot food. Anyways, the next thing on the list for 315, which is pretty closely linked to physical inventory, is the looting system. This is an MMO that has not had a looting system up until now. I mean, it's had a looting system, right? Like you could pick up stuff, kind of, sometimes, right? But like
space fruit,
yeah, and like the occasional gun that somebody drops. But it was never like you said you would pick it up and then drop it and it would never be yours again. Now they're building this loot system that basically allows you to find things, take them, and you own them. And that's a huge deal. That's like a ton of functionality built there. The fact that they now have ownership on items that can change, at least that's what it sounds like they're saying, right?
Yeah, I'm going to become the hoarder of every single P4 AR that every single AI has. I'm going to have a Cutlass Black. You're going to open the door, you're just going to see P4 ARs fall out the back.
Spilling out.
That's all that they're not going to have any attachments on them. They're only going to have one magazine in them. That's it.
They probably won't even have any ammo.
Not even any ammo. Yeah, because I'm cheap like that. I'll just sell them right out of the back, out of the Cutlass, you know?
Oh, man, it's exciting, dude. It's exciting to think that's gonna, I mean, obviously that won't be a direct possibility because that's probably gonna blow up your ship, but like the thought is there. And the fact that we can now go on these missions which, mind you, are new to the game as of this patch, and like find things, rewards, they're not gonna be worthwhile rewards. They'll be little things, you know, med pens, pistols, I don't even know if they'll do armor, maybe armor, but they're not gonna be things that matter all that much. But just the fact that we now know that the confidence that system is there and they can build on it, and the content team can, every single mission, every single derelict, every single cave, every single new moon, planet, settlement, everything they do, they now can say, okay, we have a loot system that we can use here, so let's do that. And that means exponential growth for these kinds of features in the future. That's what I love about these new systems that they're bringing in, especially with this patch. Sorry, that was
No,
the end of my statement.
that was the end of your statement. I was like,
It's a
what?
little open-ended.
Yeah, I was like, huh. I
I
was
was
like, are
just,
you gonna
that's just a
go
little
on
rant.
there?
No, it's just, it's really great to see them adding these sort of systems and not just a new couple weapons or a new mission giver or something. These are
Yeah,
going to
and
pay
watch.
dividends.
Yeah, watch it. You'll complete a mission and you'll get 500 Alpha UEC. You loot a guy in his pocket and he has like 20 Alpha UEC, and you'll be like, "Oh, my loot generation, man!"
Oh yeah, 20 UEC. Gotta love those UEs. But yeah, like I said, I don't think loot generation is going to be a huge deal right off the bat. Like it'll be fun to get little rewards, but what rewards are we going to get that we can't go out and buy 20 of already?
Oh, true. Very true.
That
But
doesn't
yeah.
discount how great a system is going to be though. And the way that they're
True.
doing it is really cool. Do you remember that they were talking about how they categorize the stuff?
Um, remind me again.
They basically are every single thing that they make, they're attaching tags to. So like any tag that they have can be referenced in a place. So let's say you go to a settlement and you've landed and it's abandoned, right? But you're looking to loot some stuff, salvage some stuff, and you get into the repair shop, you find materials, you find metals, you find tools, maybe you find a Titan suit that is used to move heavy machinery around. I don't know. You go down the ways a little bit to the settlement's clinic. Now you're finding med pens. You're finding a medical tool. Maybe, I don't know, a stash of drugs. And then you're like, okay, I don't need any of this. Let's go to one of the households. Now you start to find food. Maybe you find somebody's armor, stuff like that. And the fact that they can tag everything in the game so that any place that the content team goes in and builds a location, they can now say, this chest is here, so they should probably find more one-handed weapons here, or something like that. And then they can go a step higher and they can say, okay, well, we've got this crate and we've said that it's going to have medical supplies and firearms. It's a weird combo. He was a combat medic with a long history. Medical supplies and firearms in this crate. But we don't necessarily want them to find a rifle in every crate, even though they were in medical combat. So we'll say this crate, the rifles have a weight of 70% that they can show up. So it's not as common. So they can customize every single loot drop there is on two separate systems, which I think is going to allow them to reach really, really high levels of depth. Now, it depends on how many people they have making that content, but that could be powerful.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd be interested to see what little Easter eggs we could get too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But that's the long explanation.
No, and I think it'll be really cool because it'll give people more reasons to, like, yeah, you could go do that bunker mission and leave, or you can search around a little bit.
Yeah.
It gives you more of a reason to stay a while and take in the atmosphere a bit more.
Right.
Which I think it kind of all goes back to their making Star Citizen be a game with a lot more depth to it, which is good. And I think that maybe that's what 315 is. Maybe it's the depth patch,
I mean,
we're getting features fleshed out. Yeah, I don't know.
These are definitely foundational things they're adding. I know we're 8 years, 9 years down the line, but this patch is like probably the biggest sign of them finally getting a solid foundation under them for this stuff. That's good news. I like that.
Absolutely.
So I mentioned briefly that they're adding new missions, and we'll just touch on that real quick. But basically, the NPC, what was it called? The spawn closets. This is a feature that a lot of people were excited for, but when it came, it left. Now nobody really noticed it making any difference. That's because once again, this is one of these tech features that they finished, but the content teams hadn't gotten around to making the content for it yet. So spawn closets were done a while ago, but now with 315, we are going to see the first missions that actually use these spawn closets. These are going to be those cave missions that you're already doing, or you go in there, you assassinate somebody, you find somebody. They're basically going to build it out more so that these caves can dynamically spawn the proper NPCs for a mission, whether that be an infiltration mission for a legal person, like a bounty hunter maybe, or an assassination mission for a mercenary who's going in there to take out an explorer or something, who knows. But this new mission system, combined with the spawn closets, combined with the loot system, combined with the persistent inventory, combined with the medical gameplay, all of that together is going to make an actual playable, interesting mission with maybe some ups and downs. So that's exciting, and it feels like they're really setting up this patch to I'm almost tempted to say like the early bare bones vertical slice of Star Citizen gameplay, at least on the ground.
Ooh, that's dangerous to say.
It is dangerous. I think we can say an early vertical slice of combat gameplay maybe. It's a simple loop, right? You get a mission, you get a target, you go find them, you work as a squad, take out the crew, get the loot, get out of there, get your reward, right? That's like a pretty simple combat mission, but at this point, this will be the first time we can do it in Star Citizen.
Yeah, so you heard it here, folks. Vertical Slice 2021.
Hey, whoa, don't say all that. I was just saying it's a little juicy in here, man. It's good. It's good stuff. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but this is a good combination of stuff coming in 3.15.
No, I definitely agree. And I'm really excited to give missions more options besides go in and shoot everybody. Being able to finish it without combat, make it a bit more creative.
Yeah, that's a big point. Good point.
Stealth would be cool too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fact that they're actually going to let us complete the mission without doing combat, that's cool, and something that I'm gonna throw mad shade here, but something that I couldn't do in certain missions in Cyberpunk that really pissed me off. Like the fact that I couldn't walk into a gang house and like finish the mission without being aggressive. I guess you could, technically. You could sneak around and do the whole thing. So it's not the same. Sorry, Cyberpunk. I didn't mean it. But I do want to air that grievance. In Cyberpunk, they didn't let you like be friendly with gangs and just infiltrate somebody by, infiltrating and not just killing everybody or sneaking around.
Right.
Them. But
anyway,
that
was the illusion of choice. You had 3 choices. They were all the same choice.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Saying it differently.
But I'm sorry to bring that up. I've still got a bone to pick. Haven't done it yet. still trying to give them some time to get things together. But back to Star Citizen. Bombs. Another thing coming in 3.15. Kind of out of left field, right?
Yeah, it's so strange. I mean, it's a space game, and I mean, yeah, bombs are gonna have a place because we're in atmosphere, and okay, cool, whatever.
No, dude. Star Wars taught me that bombs are very useful in taking out large ships in space.
Not gonna even talk about the Force Awakens and all that shit, man. Oh my God, I don't even know how did they even work? What did they even explain of how that worked? The gravity bombs, they were being pulled towards like a magnet or something. I don't know. I'm not going to even go into that. But yeah, I mean, okay, bombs are cool. I think it's going to, again, depthen the game when it comes to combat, because now you have this option to think about it. If you're in space, you're moving at a certain velocity, and you detach something from your ship that's explosive, that is then going at that same velocity you were going at, and maybe losing it at a certain rate. Maybe, and hear me out, maybe because it doesn't have any guidance or anything, it's an unguided munition, maybe it might actually be really good because you can use it in space, because it'll keep that same momentum that you gave it. It's not just going to stop dead.
Yeah.
It'll keep going. Maybe it'll give combat a different edge, because now you can bomb ships, actually.
I don't know, man. I don't know. You're gonna need a big ship or really good aim.
Or both.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I personally think that bombs are another one of those features, probably one of the last that we'll see that was just needed. They needed to probably test it in Squadron 42 on some mission, and they wanted to get it in for the A2. So they were like, why don't we knock this out? Let's take care of it. There's not really much gameplay for it right now. The content teams haven't gotten to it, but I imagine with the nav mesh coming up, maybe with these new settlements, with expanded bunker missions with NPCs outside and probably vehicles, ballistas and stuff, then this could get interesting. But for now, I think bombs are going to be kind of a, oh, that's neat, and then just put it away until next patch,
Yeah, maybe. I think it'll be a lot of fun to mess around with.
It will be fun to mess around. We'll definitely form some sort of event for it for the Garden Interstellar. That's for sure. We'll have some fun with it.
Oh yeah, I could see like a bomb run where we
Hmm.
all get in a bunch of carts and stuff and
Yeah, dude.
try and
Yeah.
avoid getting
You
blown
just
up.
you just A2s fly over and carpet bomb as like a bunch of cyclones just try to race across an open valley or something. That'd be fun.
Absolutely. I don't want to be in the one you're in because I know what your track record is in being in cyclones.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's why I'm usually flying above. It's not great in a cyclone with me. New AI is also coming in Star Citizen. Now, we haven't gotten new AI. Uh, What's going on with my mouse? There we go. We haven't.
Bartender.
Yeah, well, all right. So let's see. I don't think we've seen. No, we haven't gotten a new AI edition since 312, and that was all
Bartender.
ship related AI. Nothing before that. Before that was combat behaviors and the bartender. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So we have not seen new AI behaviors in a while, but I'll tell you this, it's on the monthly report that I put out last week. You can check it out on my main channel. We've seen 11 different AI behaviors get work done this year in the monthly reports. That's just what they've talked about in the monthly reports. A absolute ton of AI development is going on right now. And I'm so excited to see how they all actually act because I mean, if when you go and you play a regular game, a lot of times the AI don't act differently, right? I'm gonna bring up the. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna bring up Cyberpunk again. How many different distinct activities did you see AI doing in that game? Besides and disappearing versus not disappearing don't count as two different actions. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. You
I,
make
I
a good point.
I know I'm getting on Cyberpunk's point case here a lot, but like think about any of the games that you play, and think about how many different AI you see in that game that actually act differently. Some of them might have a couple different lines. Some of them might even be doing different rotations of animations, which is good. That's actually reasonable, and I think that's probably what we'll get here. But even that is not that common. The fact that there are 11 different AI behaviors being worked on in a single year on a game that doesn't even have AI that can freaking function properly. Like the AI doesn't even work yet because of the server performance. We won't get on that. But the fact that when the server performance does catch up, we're going to have that many different AI behaviors is very, very cool. That's why I backed this game.
Yeah, and did you ever play Destiny?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember Zur?
I don't know names, to be honest.
So Zur was a agent of the night. He was a exotic merchant. I hope we get something like that in Star Citizen for
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah. It sounds like they're working on that traveling vendor that sells illegal goods. You've seen that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I hope that kind of becomes our Zur, essentially.
I mean, it might not be to that extent, but I do think that means that they're looking into making very unique, specific characters that you can only get certain things from. So that's good, and that could mean that could lead in that direction. But yeah, this AI stuff, it's just vendors, which is going to be basically bartenders in a shop. So it won't be that much different. But there's also going to be a doctor and a nurse to make your hospital visit feel more doctory and nursey. Again, not game changers, but these are the small details. These are the little things. These are the reasons I back the game, and they get me excited. It won't mean much when we actually see it, but eventually, like with everything else, it will start to actually perform and mean something. But let's talk about Arena Commander improvements, because those are kind of like the little thing that snuck in under the radar. And I think you have more to say on this than me. So for once, allow me to not rant about the topic. Tell us about these Arena Commander improvements, what you're seeing, what you're thinking, how they sound.
Well, I'll put it back on you. I want you to tell me what you're hearing and what you're thinking, and I'll provide some, shall we say, interesting insight into it as a good follow up to it, because I could probably go into it, but it would just be, instead of you ranting, me ranting. So,
which is fine. Everybody gets to rant. Everybody deserves a rant every once in a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I'll let you take the floor on this one specifically, because I have a good bit to say about it. So.
Okay. Well, basically, from what I understand, they're redoing the maps. They look good, Arena Commander is getting some map updates, some stuff that we've been seeing for the past year or so in terms of VFX work. They've also localized some of the areas so that you can call out areas of the map better and have a better sort of situational awareness of where you are. Gives you a better experience, a more diversified experience while you're dogfighting. And they've made improvements, I think, to the spawning or which ships are thrown at you, how they're thrown at you, that kind of stuff. The scoreboard is getting changed up a little bit. Besides those details, though, I think that's about it, at least as far as what they put on the roadmap.
Yeah, so digging into it, and it kind of goes into the change that we saw most recently when it comes to the loot that you get in Arena Commander, to resupply your ship. A lot of that has kind of been put under the radar. People don't notice, but they're constantly tweaking it. If you've never played Arena Commander, you'll know that when you try and resupply, heal your ship, things like that, it can be a little finicky.
Mm-hmm.
And they're essentially trying to make it so if you get a kill and it drops that loot,
you actually pick it up.
You will actually pick it up even without thinking too much about it, but still adding some amount of skill being done to it. So they're still broadening the pickup radius of it.
Okay.
They've already tripled or quadrupled it, and they may grow it more. So it is a lot easier for that to happen. Of course, they're still playing around with the amounts, the quantity, the percentage of what it gets refilled, things like that, which I think is really being looked over. But it's going to make for a more positive Arena Commander experience for people who maybe don't play it a lot because they feel like it's a very niche part of Star Citizen, part of the Star Citizen experience.
Does feel like it.
It's going to make it a lot more, now I won't say arcadey from what I've heard, but it's going to make it a lot more enjoyable for somebody to just hop into and really be able to play.
Cool.
And a lot of other things like that as well. Fuel consumption is going to be adjusted a little bit too, from what I understand. So you're not going to burn through fuel all the time, which is going to be cool as well. So
yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's mainly that's what they're doing with Arena Commander. No, and it's not anything monumental. It's just some improvements to make it a better experience. Which again, sounds in line with what they're doing with the whole thing, with the PU, with the feature development experience, with everything. They're just trying to make it a better upfront experience for people because they know at this point the game has gained traction. Holy crap, it has gained traction in the last 6 months. Things have gotten a lot more serious. We're seeing a lot more casual people jumping in for the first time. So I think they're just taking that into account and improving these things.
100%. Oh yeah, and Fire Sprite's still working on it, so I think we're going to continually see a lot of improvement. They're listening to feedback, and they've got their eye on it for sure.
And we'll be talking more about Fire Sprite after CitizenCon. We'll be hearing a little bit more about what they've been working on, and I know some people are going to be looking for us to talk about them being acquired by PlayStation or by Sony. I think we should wait and see what happens. There's not really much to know. It's up in the air, and I don't think I can make a reaction to it one way or another. There's no really knowing what they're going to try and do with the ongoing projects at Fire Sprite, but I don't think it's really going to have much of an effect on that stuff. I think Sony will probably just have Fire Sprite working on their own stuff, and part of the company will be working on other things. Granted, things that are signed off by Sony, but why would Sony be like, you can't work on Star Citizen? We hate Star Citizen. I don't know. I don't think it'll really make much of a difference. So
yeah. I mean, Star Citizen will just become a Sony exclusive. Nothing too crazy.
Oh god. All right. Last but not least, the new ships coming in 3.15. Now, these are probably the most likely place something might get pushed. Most of this stuff is actually already confirmed. But the biggest things: the medical system, the inventory system, the loot generation, the new missions, the bombs, the new AI. Literally everything we've gone over so far has been confirmed for the game. There are just a couple of things that might not make it in, but the ships haven't been confirmed, and that is the Ares, the Inferno, and the Ion, with the big size 7 weapons that are also coming to the game with them. The Redeemer, which is a 3 to 4 person gunship, which I'm very excited about, and the A2, which is a variant to the earlier this year released C2, meant for bombing. Obviously, is coming with the bombs. Which of these ships do you think would get delayed if any of them did?
Redeemer,
Yeah.
hands down. And since we had already kind of talked about it, I think we'll get all of these ships within a 90. I am hater percent sure. So I'm 99.999%. And I'm not going to talk about eating socks either. But
Please.
I will probably get all these ships in 315, but like I was talking to you, I could very well see them pushing out some of these ships to a 315.9999 kind of thing, where they put it out at the very butt end of 315, almost right before 316, just so they can say, hey, well, we did put it out in 315. We might not get it for most of the cycle of the patch. So I don't know. I think getting technically four, if you count the Ion and Inferno as two separate platforms, that's technically four ships. Three if you don't count variants. So
you are forgetting that we're going to get a straight to flyable.
I know, and I just feel like that's a lot of ships for a patch.
It's a lot of freaking everything for a patch, man.
Everything for a patch. So something is going to get pushed back, and I don't know what it was, and I almost always feel in my gut that it's going to end up being a ship, because ships, while they're great and they help CIG make money, they seem to be the big thing that always gets pushed all the time, So
well, they're easy to put in half patches for sure.
Yeah, you can put it half, and I think that's what we'll see. Mark my words, I can almost guarantee that one of these ships that we're talking about now is going to be put into the half patch. If it's not, the straight to flyable, maybe that straight to flyable will get put in the half patch, and then these ships will go in around it. I don't know.
We'll see.
But
the September monthly report is going to be very telling on that front. So we'll see what they say. And speaking of what comes after September, and generally, I think what's going to introduce all of this, CitizenCon, which comes up October 9th, and I think will likely drop with a open PTU for 315 as well.
Absolutely. I agree. I think so as well.
Yeah, so it's digital this year, the whole event. You can watch it all live on Twitch from Star Citizen's own account. We probably won't be streaming it. I might stream it on my second YouTube channel. I am going to be joined by Execute, Sir Pickles, and Astropub. We might do something. We're still figuring things out. We're considering hanging out for some panels, but we got to see what they're doing. But yeah, it's going to be a fun event. It's all digital, and I think the community is going to go wild for it. We won't really talk about what we expect from it here and now, but I do want to have it on people's radars. Do expect to hear a lot about it for the next month, and definitely for the month of October. That's where the newest, goodest, bestest, nicest, shiniest new features and locations and ships are going to be shown off. Ones that we might not even see for the next year. So if you want to see what's coming up in Star Citizen, make sure to watch that event. And then there's also Beyond 315. What are you looking forward to in the future?
FPS radar and scanning, man.
Oh boy. The recently delayed.
Yeah, that one hurt, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, if not 315 being the patch that really sets this year off as the patch, it would have to be 316. I mean, they kind of can't. They can't really fumble 315 in my opinion. But they could fumble 316 if 315 is just awesome. But if they don't really deliver too well with 315, if some things get pushed back and it's just not, the community reception isn't great for 315, I think going into 316 they're really going to need to close out the end of the year very strong, or their sales might take a hit a bit this year. So I'm just a broader thought, for 316 is that all of these features that have gotten pushed, they kind of need to focus on delivering those, because we do want those this year. For instance, FPS radar and scanning. So
I do think that their 316 is looking pretty good. I don't expect it to get much heavier than it is right now. In fact, I expect to see something slip, possibly salvage. But I hope that 316, I hope what they focus on is maybe bringing in one new interesting feature, but staying pretty light and just focusing on making sure that 315 and what was brought in there works really well with the rest of the game. Like, do some back-end stuff, right? Do some economy stuff, quantum stuff, but maybe don't make super fundamental changes to 316 just so that you can get your feet back under you after such a big 315. But
yeah, we're not asking for much. We just want you to fix the cargo and the star map. You know, that's it.
And I'll be interested to see what it is that they slip into 316, because there are some big candidates. We've got stuff like persistent streaming. You've got the entity graph. We've got the planetary navigation mesh. We've got some quantum improvements. We've got Gen 12 being fully implemented. There are quite a few big things that could happen in 316, and it'll be interesting to see what they settle on.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, things are looking good. I know that changes basically every half year. People say, "Oh, it's looking bad. It's looking good. It's looking bad." I mean, I don't want to say I told you so, but like, I put a video out towards the beginning of this year, and I was like, guys, look at what they're preparing. I'm not saying this is like some sort of a god moment for Star Citizen. That's not what I'm saying at all. This isn't the best time to jump into Star Citizen or anything like that, but this is good. Like, what we're seeing here looks more positive than we've seen in years. So I'm happy. I'm happy about what we're going to see post 315. I still think it's moving a little bit slowly, and we don't have a good idea of what's happening next year, but I think CitizenCon is going to help us really understand that, and 316 is going to be a nice little button on top to a good 2021. I'm optimistic. Shoot me.
And if it doesn't turn out the way we hope, at least we'll have Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See? There's always a silver lining. At least we'll have Halo. And I won't have a YouTube channel anymore. No,
and you won't have a YouTube channel, unfortunately.
No, I mean, that's actually... it's funny because I don't want to be just Star Citizen. That's why I made this whole second channel. So I'm not even worried about that kind of stuff. But I don't think, at this point, Star Citizen's got too much momentum. I think 2020 was like the last year that I was like, I don't know. Now, it's not necessarily... Is it going to fulfill what it's not going to be based on, oh, this game isn't going to be a game you can play. It's just, how good is it going to be at this point?
Absolutely.
So I'm not really that worried about the health of if this game is going to last or not. I think it'll last. But it's an interesting time, and I'm excited for what comes after 315. I'm excited for CitizenCon. I'm excited for what's going on right now. Anything that you wanted to say in closing before we wrap this one up?
No. I think both on the Garden and GII, our org, we'll try and put together some events around CitizenCon as well.
Yeah.
Probably some group watch discussion just for community members to hang out in. We'll all grab some snacks and beverages and watch CitizenCon together, and do some blue sky theory crafting along with it. So feel free to come join us there. We'll probably do set up mirror events on both sides, so people from both communities can come together and watch that, which should be pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. Group events, mirror events. You all on the Garden. We have not forgotten about you. I know you're there. I know you're listening. We're chatting every day. I appreciate you guys. The Garden is honestly, sorry, GII. The Garden is my favorite place. I love it. I love hanging out there. So I'm excited to start bringing more games in there and more activity. But besides that, you guys should go catch the monthly report. I just put it out last week, and this was a really good one. This was a fun one. I think that September is going to be even more fun, but definitely go check out this August one I just put up. And also keep an eye out for the video I'm going to do on Death of a Spaceman in the medical system coming this week. That'll explain a lot of what's going to happen in 315 and what the plan is for death and permadeath in general in Star Citizen. So make sure to check that out on the main channel. Also, make sure to join Discord. We've done a lot to change how the Discord looks, the formatting and everything, and there's a lot more activity. People are having a lot of fun. So join that. You can play any of the games that we talk about here on the podcast with other people. We've got a Valheim server starting up. We're about to get a New World server starting up. And we've also been playing Apex Legends, Star Citizen. We're going to start doing No Man's Sky. So jump in there. If you like this podcast, if you like this stuff, come hang out with us. And check out our merch. We got a merch store. We got some shirts, we got some stickers, it's some cool stuff. Check it out. That's down below if you want to. And finally, you can support this podcast as well as my other videos on Patreon. And also Drazen, because Drazen is eventually going to have to get a tomato tattoo, as he said.
Yes.
And that's we're going to put some money towards that. So if you would like to support what we do here with Space Tomato Gaming, making Star Citizen more easy to understand and just delivering some fun to watch gaming content from other games, please check out the Patreon. It's linked down below, and it would help a ton. I appreciate everybody for coming to listen to this podcast, listen to me rant into Drazen's ears for a couple minutes. I love you guys. I have a lot of fun doing this. Drazen, I hope you have a lot of fun too, man. I like having you in here, and I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
I really appreciate you coming through again, especially with this last minute one, your Sunday night. Thank you so much. And we'll sign off and see you next week, everybody. Have a good one.